Yeah, I'm here with Marc Zegveld from TNO. We're at the AI Policy Summit in the Prosus office. Let's start with a quick introduction about yourself and about TNO.
Yep. Hey, great. Thanks. Thanks for being here. It's really my pleasure on being here and being part of the panel. I think AI is a big topic. Marc Zegveld, I work for TNO. TNO is an applied research organization in the Netherlands for more than 5,000 people working there. And I'm leading a unit really focused on research on ICT, strategy and policy. And AI, of course, is a big thing. With TNO, we support organizations, companies, but also governments in technology development, but also in innovation policies to ensure that indeed these technologies will be of value, both societal value as well as of company value. I think that's the key aspect. So in my team of 600 people, we have a lot of in-depth tech people who know everything about quantum applications, about AI, Gen AI or agents, but also definitely a lot of people who have a true understanding of business processes who are sector specific or on innovation policy.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm Dutch, so I know TNO very well. It's an institution in the Netherlands, but maybe good to mention that like people have heard of ASML, for example. It's a very famous company now. TNO, I believe, also had some role in the very early days in doing R&D on lithography that helped the creation of
Definitely.
ASML.
I think Peter Wenning, the former CEO, once explained that without TNO, there would not be a ASML as it is right now. The other one is, for instance, one of the big, scale-ups, or more beyond the scale-up now, Nearfield, is a spin-off from TNO. So I think we're not only, let's say, in the tech part, we're also definitely in the venturing part of ensuring that we bring that value to society, that vibrant to society, to ensure indeed that technology creates the value and gain competitiveness. I think what we try to do is we have a strategy of combining earning capacity for organizations, for society, but also increasing quality of life. So at least as a consumer or companies have a choice to make.
Exactly, because I also read that, so everybody might have heard about Dieselgate, so the famous Volkswagen scandal, where they were caught kind of fiddling with the emissions tests. And I read that TNO, well, wasn't directly involved in that. It has done a lot of research actually showing that actually across the board there were issues with diesel engines and how pollutive they actually are. So maybe that's a nice transition to the quality of life thing and regulation. In the Netherlands, there's a vibrant debate around nitrogen in general, and I'm sure maybe don't want to get too much into that, but that brings us maybe to AI, which is the topic here. And yeah, when I was giving a keynote, I made a remark like, AI is a bit like electricity. We shouldn't be scared of it in general. Of course, you can do scary things with electricity. It can be very dangerous also. And so you rightly said, well, electricity is also heavily regulated. I wanted to continue on that thought.
Yeah, great.
But I guess my point was, it's not that there shouldn't be any regulation, but rather that the starting point shouldn't be that this is a scary technology, but rather that's actually a very interesting technology, but where we want to have some guardrails.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. So two aspects. The first one, a kind of bit of historical one. If it's electricity, if it's biotech, if it's, let's say, every new technology, also telco, the evidence shows that the last 200 years, the evidence shows that with every new technology, everybody's extremely enthusiastic because it will bring world peace. Everything. Which is okay, but then later on we learn that, let's say, besides all this positive and nice stuff, there are some risks or there is some issues with it. And that's not to It should not, let's say, vaporize all the positive stuff, but we need to be aware. And I think AI as such is not a new technology. Um, it was in my career when I started years and years ago, AI was already there, but did not have, let's say, that ramp up from a value perspective as it's now. And now specifically, I think the from a consumer perspective, if you're on TikTok, if you're on whatever big platform you are, you're providing your data, and you are okay with consent, which we all know nobody reads, nobody really understands what's cooking and what some of these organizations do. And I think that's one of the aspects from a policy perspective where we say, yeah, you need to regulate in that sense. The other aspects is, as we specifically in the Netherlands know, there's quite some discussion within government. So is AI making decisions, or is it proposing decisions in that sense? And who is accountable in that way? I won't say that needs to be fully regulated, but at least my suggestion would be let's create sandboxes, let's create some windows of opportunities where you can experiment and work it out to see indeed what needs to be regulated and how to be regulated. I think the key question from a regulation perspective is, not from the Netherlands, but more from a European perspective, are there specific European values which we think are extremely important that we want to cherish, and what we would think if some organization would come to Europe, they need to comply to some of our European values. And I think that would be an important aspect of the regulation.
Okay. On the other hand, like Mario Draghi said, if we don't create, if we're not competitive enough, we're not even able to defend our values at all. So do you agree there's maybe some trade-offs that we need to make?
Definitely there is a tension, but on the other hand, so definitely there is a tension if you over-regulate. There is no discussion about it. Then it's withholding organizations, companies, consumers, etc. On the other hand, and I'm a pretty firm believer there, is if you, for instance, on cybersecurity, on AI, if you by design build in compliancy, security, resilience, all these kind of access, you build it in by design, and it's feasible, it's possible. For instance, with TNO, we built GPT-NL, which is not a real large language model, but it's completely compliant. If more organizations than we in Europe we do, if more organizations do that, will perform this way, it will not impact our competitiveness. And I think it will build a stronghold in moving these kind of technology, these kind of insight out of Europe as well. So I think it's an export potential. There are some references here as we have within the REACH database, where we, as Europe indicated, we have these chemical molecules. You can only bring them into Europe if it's been registered, because then we have a clear view if it's safe, what's the toxic is, etc. And everybody was claiming and shouting, yeah, but it will lose our competitiveness. Now, it strengthened our competitiveness because REACH is now a global standard because Europe set the bar.
Okay, all right. Maybe to finish off with this, and then I let you maybe enjoy a coffee or something. Yeah, good. You mentioned something towards the end of the panel, which I thought was really nice, around going to schools and inspire the youth. Because I guess we have a bit of an issue also in the Netherlands with a reduced interest in science, is my impression. I wonder what your take is and what you said earlier.
Yeah, so there was a question on what can we do from a policy perspective on, we're not really promoting AI, but to ensure that we have more people, that we have quite a talent pool, but we can increase the talent pool. And of course, people who are in their 20s, and if they already started, let's say, study philosophy or psychology, there's nothing wrong with it. But in the very same time, I think, what's our bread and butter as a society? Where can we gain our competitiveness, but also, let's say, keep our standard of living? And definitely what we see in societies as in Western Europe, we see it in the US as well, people move from engineering to economics or business administration to psychology and philosophy. And definitely there is a full, let's say, liberty for everybody to choose. But if we can motivate people at a younger age on what science is and the curiosity and the fun of science by coding classes, by engineering classes, etc., definitely they will be very helpful in for them to make these kind of choices. But I would even go further. If we know, I know it's a difficult topic, but if we know, let's say that engineering, if coding are the job for the future, also for the 20 years ahead, but also on, for instance, drug development, etc. Why don't we support these specific students in additional loans or interest-free loans, etc., compared to other students? I know it's a harsh measure, but this is definitely about ensuring that our standard of living in the upcoming 50 years will be equally, or at least equally, on where we are today.
Great. Well, that's an inspiring message. So it's a good one to finish on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Nice meeting you.
Okay.
Thanks.